Yo creo que precisamente estas jornadas, que tienen ya una amplia experiencia, que empezaron hace tiempo, yo creo que la cosa buena que tienen es que ponen en común las distintas estrategias que tenemos como ciudades, al final para un objetivo común. Tenemos problemas comunes, una grave crisis económica que nos está afectando a una alta tasa de paro, sobre todo en gente joven, y lo que estamos haciendo es poner en común las estrategias de los distintos países y ciudades para ver cómo podemos crear sinergias entre nosotros. Yo creo que el modelo Barcelona es un modelo positivo. Nos está afectando el paro, igual que el resto de ciudades, pero nosotros tenemos una economía muy diversificada, donde el turismo está siendo para nosotros pues una fuerte plataforma de salvación a efectos de crisis, ¿no? También es verdad que una economía muy terciarizada como la nuestra, esto ha provocado una ocupabilidad que a lo mejor pues no tiene la estabilidad necesaria que querríamos y que te da, por ejemplo, el sector de la industria. Entonces yo creo que la clave está en encontrar el equilibrio adecuado entre el sector servicios y la industria para poder dar estas tasas de ocupación estables, ¿no? Yo creo que el modelo Barcelona, un modelo muy basado en colaboración público-privada, es la clave del éxito y que podemos exportar al resto de países. Sí, nosotros hemos firmado acuerdos de colaboración y acuerdos de hermandad con otras ciudades y que nos permiten pues, que haya una transferencia de conocimiento a un grado de detalle bastante importante, ¿no? Pero jornadas como las que hoy están produciéndose aquí en Barcelona y que la ciudad pues, muy gustosamente acoge es lo que provoca que este grado de relación entre ciudades y países pues, se incremente. Yo creo que la clave es precisamente que los países que estamos formando parte de esta Unión por el Mediterráneo y que estamos en el marco de la OCDE, cada una tiene una particularidad, todas estas ciudades y países tienen una particularidad y muy diversificada, ¿no? Tenemos entornos políticos, culturales, sociales, empresas, economías muy diversificadas, que precisamente esta diversificación nos permite encontrar las sinergias y los puntos de encuentro, ¿no? Y yo creo que es de esta diversificación, pero que a la vez compartimos valores comunes, es lo que nos permite encontrar los puntos de unión para poder tirar hacia adelante.
My division at the Union for the Mediterranean is in charge of economic development and the small and medium-sized enterprises. The small enterprises means mainly entrepreneurship. So the development of these companies depends on the capacity and the ability of having entrepreneurs working for the growth of those little or small companies. At the same time, the development of these SMEs, as we call it, medium companies, creates a possibility of jobs. Because when they grow, they need the young people entering in this field. And you know that the small and medium-sized companies are nearly 7 million. So if you can imagine that just creating a few on them, I'm not saying one job for each country, but just to say that the enlargement of these companies will immediately create the necessity and then the opportunity for young to enter really in the job.
Well, first of all, the investment in human capital seems to be key to give a perspective for a young generation that is now suffering of high unemployment, not only in Spain, but also in the region of the Middle East and North African countries. Well, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, is based in Paris, but we are an organization of 34 member countries in the Western world, but we also cooperate with many other countries like China and India, but also the countries in Middle East and North Africa. And we are like a knowledge center, but we also are very practical. So we exchange best practices on what helps, not only for the good education system, but also how to bring people, how to connect people to the economic markets. So this is about apprenticeships, but it's also about creating a good environment for entrepreneurial activities. And it is also about creating good governance, because when governments are transparent, reliable, and not corrupt, then they attract foreign direct investments. The cooperation that these countries execute in these areas is learning from each other, but also comparing. So if you compare and you see that one country is doing better in female employment or in female entrepreneurship, you see, oh, what is this country doing better? And maybe there are cultural differences, maybe there are differences in the system. And we hope to learn also today from each other in that respect. We see that on a global scale, women are the most underutilized assets. So the female human capital is something that really should be unleashed. And here we can learn from each other in good examples. We see that women are already doing better in schools than boys. So there is no reason why women should not play a more important role also in enterprises and in employment.
Well, I think that we are at an extremely important turning point because of the emergence of the Arab Springs, the democratic revolutions in the Arab countries. And we have to be up to the expectations of the citizens of these countries. And this is the direction that we have to take. We were in a different framework before because we had authoritarian regimes. In fact, we are seeing the crisis of the authoritarian models in the Arab world, and we have to provide an answer and to design policies for the development, economic, social, cultural, and citizenship and development in these countries in a context of democracy, which is maybe more difficult, but it would be, I'm sure, much more effective. I think that the opportunity of working together arises from the fact of having a tradition of Euromed affairs under the process of Barcelona, in the process of Barcelona period. All the countries south and north of the Mediterranean have been working together. And now we are trying to join the expertise of the OCDE in economic policies, design and implementation of these policies with the new period of Euromed affairs, with the creation of the Union for the Mediterranean. So I think that in the interconnection of Union for the Mediterranean with OCDE and other institutions like European Institute for the Mediterranean in Barcelona or others, out of that will come the better opportunities to work together toward that goal.
You know, in the area of entrepreneurship skills development, we base our approach on Harvard methodology, which in the 60s identified core competences which make entrepreneurs successful. Then that methodology was tested in about 70 countries to make it universal in terms of facilitating entrepreneurship skills. So in this regard, there are 10 core competences that we really focus at. They include self-motivation, access to markets and networking, persuasion, confidence, skills of that nature. So they're really universal for entrepreneurs to be successful. Then as it relates to young people, to youth, they should be more maybe focus on empowerment of them to go into the entrepreneurial area because it's quite risky. And I think also bringing awareness about success stories, but also failures, which people made but then still became successful entrepreneurs. So I think for them it's really more empowerment and more information so that they can be you know, looking forward and confident that they succeed. I think there is a lot. As I said before, in terms of learning from, other policies, at UNCTAD, at this stage, we're developing policy toolkit, which has different components, and one of them is a database of good practices. And this, from that perspective, we really relate and rely a lot on what's going on in the world, including in the Mediterranean region. So, and I think we've heard today a lot of, good stories and good practices in how to facilitate employment, how to facilitate entrepreneurship, and, we've heard from Jordan, we have heard from Turkey, from Tunisia, from Spain as well. So there is a lot of things to put together, and then in this when it's put in a systemic way and reflecting on all these good developments, it could be a very powerful tool. I think all countries, they need to work together, because again, networking is really one of key success factors for entrepreneurs to succeed. And I think also for the policy work in the area of policy advice and policy recommendations, it's the same approach. So then, there is always things to learn from each other, and sometimes, bad experience or mistakes made, even more powerful, more learning exercise than good practices. But having said that, it's really important to get all these experiences together and then to move forward. So I think everybody needs to be involved.
Je pense qu'il est primordial actuellement de prendre des bonnes orientations concernant les jeunes et l'employabilité des jeunes et l'employabilité des femmes dans notre pays. Vous savez que le Maroc rentre dans une nouvelle ère, celle de la nouvelle réforme de la Constitution. Nous avons une nouvelle constitution à partir du 1er juillet 2011, et sur cette constitution, il est inscrit que les droits, la femme et l'homme sont mis sur le même pied d'égalité en ce qui concerne dans les domaines politiques, économiques, sociaux et culturels. Donc aujourd'hui, la femme, elle est égale à l'homme dans ces différents domaines. Certes, on est conscient que la situation de la femme au niveau de la rive sud et la rive nord de la Méditerranée est différente. Donc nous aspirons à avoir les mêmes droits et la même intégration au sein de la société que la femme de la rive nord de la Méditerranée. Et j'espère que le Maroc suivra cette voie et que les femmes au Maroc prendront les postes de prise de décision, que ce soit au gouvernement, au Parlement ou bien au sein des conseils d'administration des entreprises.
Concernant le futur, on estime avoir un développement stratégique qui pourrait en quelque sorte mettre le problème de l'employabilité au cœur de nos préoccupations. Nous allons établir des partenariats avec les différents partenaires, que ce soit nationaux ou bien internationaux. Et nous comptons bien sûr favoriser les rapports avec les villes de la Méditerranée, étant donné les ressemblances de problèmes entre ces villes-là. Vous savez que maintenant on traverse une situation un peu spécifique. Maintenant, la Tunisie vit une phase post-révolutionnaire, donc il y a des problèmes quotidiens, des problèmes qui ont un rapport avec l'employabilité, avec des gens qui sont chômeurs il y a des années, donc ils revendiquent leurs droits pour vivre dans la dignité. Et cela, bien sûr, forme une certaine pression sur le conseil municipal. Notre stratégie, notre politique dans le conseil municipal, c'est d'avoir des relations qui peuvent enrichir notre expérience. Parce que certainement, il y a des projets, des actions qui ont été faites, que ce soit à Barcelone ou ailleurs, qui peuvent nous inspirer en quelque sorte des idées et des actions et peuvent en quelque sorte concrétiser notre envie pour que les jeunes et les hommes, d'une façon, les citoyens de la ville de Sfax aient leur dignité pour travailler et pour avoir une vie paisible. Voilà.
This has been an important meeting for the OECD and our partnership with the Union for the Mediterranean and the City of Barcelona. The issues of skills, employment and entrepreneurship are today one of the critical issues that we need to discuss. We need to share about good practices in the region, good practices in OECD countries, in a way that we can think about actions. The meeting today mentioned the importance of timing, the timing dimension. It's time to act, said Lino Cardarelli only a few minutes ago when he was closing the conference. Time to act with the expertise that we have shared today in the meeting. It's important also to note that one of the proposals that has been discussed and proposed for the future of the region is to continue the dialogue, to continue the discussion on what are the best initiatives that can be implemented, adjusted in each of the countries. We need to recognize the diversity of the region, the diversity of the countries, and the diversity within these countries. And the OECD, together with the Union for the Mediterranean and the City of Barcelona, and the countries and experts, practitioners participating in the meeting today, are ready to take the challenge, to continue the dialogue, to share experiences, and to be back here in Barcelona, in this beautiful city, to continue the discussions.